Hi there, thanks for coming out tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about how to make a CD. And for those of you who don't know who I am on YouTube, my name is Chris and I am a Grammy Award-winning musician. I've been nominated 6 times as a musician, won once, and I've been nominated once as a producer. So there are 3 groups of musicians primarily, in my mind, who want to make CDs. You have a group of people that are wanting to be professional or are professional. These are the people who want to make the highest quality CDs because they're aiming to get it on the air. They see themselves being the next superstar, the next person you're going to hear on the radio, and they're definitely going to be making the high quality stuff. Second group of people are more local type musicians, the people you'll see down at the local coffee house when you go there on Friday evenings. Those people are trying to make a CD primarily to supplement their income. And then finally, the third group of people are people who just want to make some kind of a historical document, maybe make something for fun, something to give to their friends, and so forth. Once you identify yourself with one of those groups, then you have some choices to make. The first choice that you're probably going to want to decide on is whether or not you're going to use a producer. If you decide you're going to use a producer, then you're going to need to know a few things about the producer. You don't want to just go with the first guy that comes to mind or the first person somebody mentions. You want to check into some producers. Look at their credits. What kind of music have they done? Have they done music that, same kind of music you're interested in doing? Are they familiar with your genre? If not, you might want to keep looking. Also, when you talk to these guys, make sure you can get along with them. This is a person you're going to be doing a lot of work with, and they're going to have ultimate control over your creation, and you want to make sure you can get along with them. It's important to not try to produce a record yourself for a number of reasons. The main one being is that most people that try to produce their own records have too much of themselves in the record and not enough of the band or the artist. So their own personal interests outweigh the interests of the music, which is why you want a producer in the first place. Once you've chosen a producer or not, either the producer will decide the studio, and in the case that you haven't chosen one, you have to decide the studio. Again, you want to find a place that you're comfortable with, a place that can accommodate the kind of music you're doing, hopefully an engineer who's familiar with your genre, who knows how to mic the instruments you're using, somebody easy to talk to, and an environment that you're just overall comfortable with. You can't play good music in a studio that you're not comfortable in. Your producer, if he's good, will know this. He'll know a studio that fits you. He'll be comfortable with the engineer and so forth. And so after that's been decided, you go make your CD and everything's done. Finally, you're going to want to find out if you want to master it or not. If you're going to be the next superstar, you are going to master your record. If you're not going to be the next superstar, if you're just doing it for a local gig or for your own personal interests, maybe or maybe not, most likely not. You're going to want to save the money. If you do go with a mastering engineer, get one that's recommended, has a website, and one that will be able to do what you need to be done with good gear. Good gear is important. Look online at their website and check them out. So that should give you a brief introduction into the world of recording, what you might be looking for depending on what you're into. And just be careful with your money. You can spend a lot of money in a hurry trying to make a record. Don't pay for things that you don't need. So, is there any questions? Are there any questions? How about that?
I have a question. Can you have enough experience to know when you hear a song who it's been produced by, Kiss Music?
In some cases, I do. There are several producers I'm familiar enough with to know immediately who they are and what they've recorded. T-Bone Burnett comes to mind. I can tell in about 3 bars if you produced a record or not.
How about mastering? Can you tell what engineers have been working?
I can't tell about mastering. Sometimes a mastering engineer, one thing about a mastering engineer that's interesting is sometimes they will not do anything to the record at all almost. They might add just a little bit of EQ. The mixes, in fact, we just did a project where the mixes were so good. The guy I worked with, he's such a good engineer. His mixes were so good that the only thing the mastering engineer did was turn the levels up and get everything solid. But if the mixes, and that record, the good thing about that record though, what made it so easy to master was his good mixing ability, but also the fact that the songs were all kind of in the same genre already, used the same band, and there wasn't a ton of diversity involved. See, the mastering engineer provides the glue for your record. It puts everything together. So you want to go ahead and get one that knows how to do that. But yeah, does that answer your question?
That was good.
What do you mean by glue?
Well,
What if I didn't have any glue? What would be the difference?
okay, well, let's say that you didn't have any mastering done at all, and you recorded a song. Let's say you're a guitar player, and so you record a song with you and your guitar, and you're singing the song. And then the next song, you bring a full band in, and they play. And then the next song is just maybe you and a piano and, I don't know, a mandolin. The point is it's a large range of material. So in this case, what's going to happen is, if you don't have any mastering done, what might happen is that you get the songs back and you pass the CDs out to people, and worst case is that you actually sell them. And then somebody's going to get in their car and put the first song in and tune your guitar, and the volume's really low, so they're going to turn the volume knob up. And then as soon as they do that, and then that first song ends, and the second song is a full band piece, and that one comes on, and all of a sudden their windows shatter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what a mastering engineer does is he takes all the songs, he or she, they take all the songs and they congeal them together. Mastering engineers are really important because when they get done, the levels are all the same, but it goes beyond that. A normal engineer can make the levels all the same. So your question was, what do I mean by glue? What I mean by glue is they give it an overall polish, maybe an overall EQ. Maybe the entire record comes away with one single EQ that makes it sound like it was all recorded together. Equalizer. It equalizes tonal frequencies. That's a little more technical than I'd intended to go, but it basically means that, do you know if you listen, okay, let's say you're an Eagles fan and you listen to one of their records. They have a sound. They sound like the Eagles. And they don't sound anything like the Beatles. The Beatles have more of an edgy sound. That's mastering. A lot of it's what they're doing, but a lot of it has to do with who actually mastered the record at the end. Now you had asked, could I tell the mastering engineer, if I spend enough time with one, I probably could, based on that alone. Because it just creates this ambiance, and I'm sure that the mastering engineers do have techniques that give them away. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Should have clapped myself. One other thing I'd like to mention is a quote. Since we've been talking so much about mastering, a quote from a guy named Paul Smith, Sound on Sound magazine, and he did the article back in 1999. And one thing that he stressed was how important it was to check out the gear of the mastering engineer that you intend to use. Because the gear is very important in mastering. It's like a voodoo art. Most people don't even understand what it's about. So it's the least understood art form, and it's the least understood part of making a record. But it's absolutely the most important part after you've got it done, and it requires really expensive gear. There's really need to be careful when selecting a mastering engineer. So thank you all so much for your attention, and hope you've learned a little something about how records are made.
Yeah. Thank you.